Hey guys, Storm Prince here from Storm TV. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Black-White Control and Standard.
No one says once you get to the top, your biggest fear is when you gon' drop.
This is my current Standard deck and by far my favorite. On the next screen, I'll show you the deck list. Feel free to pause the video so you can see all the individual cards. The deck list will also be in the description box below. The first thing we're going to go over is the main reasons to play this deck. This deck has really favorable matchups against Bant Company and Blue-White Humans, which are currently the two biggest decks in Standard. Now, the reason why these matchups are so good for us is because of all the removal Black-White Control has to offer. We have a bunch of efficiently costed removal, as well as sweepers like Languish and Descend Upon the Sinful. With so much removal, it's really easy to lock the game down by dealing with all their early threats and then sweeping the board if things get a little out of hand. Decks like Bant Company and Blue-White Humans really struggle to come back after being board wiped. This is why we have so much removal in our deck to keep us ahead. Those aren't the only decks Black-White Control is good against, it's just really good against any creature-based strategy. So, if your meta is full of Eldrazi and aggro/beatdown type decks, then this deck is a really excellent choice. Our overall strategy is to kill their early game creatures with cards like Ultimate Price and Decoration of Stone. Then, in the mid game, we wipe the board and start deploying our Planeswalkers. From there, we take control of the game through our Planeswalkers and usually end with a big Secure the Ways at the end of an opponent's turn. Now that we've covered the basics, let's get into some more in-depth details about the deck. We're playing 4 Gideons for a very specific reason. His -4 ability is a crucial part of this deck. Not only will he usually be the last card type you need to enable Delirium, but it's also the main way we get our surprise Secure the Ways kills. So don't be afraid to use your first couple of Gideons just for the Anthem effect. It's exactly what this deck wants to do. With Gideon's Elbow Mount, this helps us by growing our Shambling Bet, making it a lot easier to catch up from a low life total thanks to an early game beating, as well as turning our Angel from Descend Upon the Sinful and Awaken Land from Ruinous Path into 5/5 so they survive our own Languish. This can be huge for us because one-side board wipes are extremely powerful and usually end games. Now the deck doesn't run any creatures for multiple reasons. For one, there's a lot of efficient removal in Standard, and almost every deck is packing some form of removal. By running 0 creatures in our deck, we effectively blank all our opponent's removal, and with removal-heavy decks similar to ours, we can blank more than half their draws. Now, if you really need to run a creature main board, then you can move the one of Linvala the Preserver from the sideboard into the main. She's a really great catch-up card, and she fits into the deck just fine. One effective strategy to beat this deck is huge creatures that are really hard to remove. This deck has a lot of sorcery speed removal, as well as conditional removal. For these reasons, green-red ramp is a really great choice for beating this deck. Ulamog is a huge creature that is really hard for this deck to deal with. Because of him being colorless and indestructible, the only way this deck can really deal with him is with an exile effect like Anguish Making or Descend Upon the Sinful. Even if we do manage to get rid of the first Ulamog, they still got to exile 2 permanents, which can be backbreaking because we're so threat light in this deck. One of our main courses of victory are through our Planeswalkers. So, if a Ulamog was able to exile 1 or 2 of our Planeswalkers, we're in a lot of trouble. Another really effective strategy to be in this deck is by using a deck that is non-creature based and wins the game either with a combo or with a Planeswalker. One of the deck's worst matchups is Blue-Red Goggles. The only creatures they have is Jace and Thing in the Ice. But the main way they win is through Chandra and Goggles plus Fall of the Titans combo. We have very little ways to interact with their combo. For Chandra, we have 2 Ruinous Paths and Anguish Making can hit her and the Goggles, but besides that, that's basically all we have. In general, this matchup is really horrible for us. Our last tip on beating this deck is discard. Transgress the Mind and Duress can both take our Planeswalkers, as well as some of our removal and sweepers. Against creature-heavy aggro decks, a turn 1 Duress taking our sweeper could spell the end for us. If you're looking to build this deck, it'll cost you about $330, which is a lot better than the $760 price tag of Bant Company. Now, this deck is great if you either love to grind people out, or if your meta is full of creature-based strategies. So, as a quick recap, this deck is at its best in creature-heavy or removal-heavy metas. Try using removal as efficiently as possible. Sometimes it's better to take a few points of extra damage instead of using a kill spell if you plan on board wiping in the next turn or 2. Don't be afraid to play Gideon just for the Anthem effect. This deck really struggles against non-creature based strategies like Blue-Red Goggles, or huge creatures that are hard to deal with like Ulamog and Red-Green Ramp. And finally, the deck is pretty cheap at only $330. Thanks so much guys for watching my video, I really hope you enjoyed it. Now, let's cue that outro.
They recognize me in the street. Say I'm spitting that heat. Fuck how it seems, I ain't tryna be mean. I mean, I'm tryna be discreet.